The following is rated S for spoilers. From the developers that have you nostalgia whipped harder than a Japanese dominatrix, and the series loaded with more emotionally unavailable twings than Grindr, comes the remake, no, rebirth, of one of gaming's most cherished darlings that will have you laughing, crying, and of course, super confused. Because it's just not a Nomura game if it doesn't leave you wondering what the f just happened. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Jump back into the sequel of the remake of that game they put out like 20 years ago. Wait, what? You mean it wasn't 20 years ago? Wait, it was closer to 30?
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper!
As you revel in the fragmented memories of your childhood, and also the first part of the remake, because at this point, your memory is as short as a single TikTok, where you'll discover what made you fall in love with these games to begin with, as it returns the Final Fantasy series to form, by making you spend 100 hours doing a bunch of silly minigames and interacting with weirdos while the fate of the world is at stake. Okay, look, there's always some world-ending doom scenario, but there's only one person that can race these chocobos, and that's this guy. Explore the vast lands of Gaia in all of its glory, as Square plucks you out of Midgar's stifling dystopia and drops you into the majestic wide-open dystopia of everywhere else. Then prepare for the adventure of a lifetime by doing an insane amount of side quests as you raise your relationships with your comrades via manual labor for lazy NPCs, exterminating monsters like it's going out of style, doing a Metal Gear Solid on chocobos, following a bird, playing DDR with summons, beating children at card games, and just spending most of your playtime at the Gold Saucer, in a world stuffed full of side content that you'll actually want to do, especially if you don't want to get your head kicked in by the next boss. But let's be honest, we're all doing it to unlock that iconic dating scene with your chosen husbando or waifu. And if you end up getting red, you're a furry now. Hey look, I don't make the rules. Besides, what happens at the Gold Saucer stays at the Gold Saucer.
They are soft.
Slash your way through Rebirth's combat, which tweaks the previous system of the original, and will have you dodging and perfect parrying like you're still playing Final Fantasy XVI, until you die and realize this game still has RPG components that you actually have to use, as they add a ton more companion moves, new skills and abilities, and new synergies that keep combat fresh with different team comps. Well, when you can actually tell what's going on after getting eye blasted by particle effects like you took too much LSD at an EDM concert. Don't panic, but you are going to be high forever now. In combat that's part active button mashing, part micromanaging, and part anxiety attack that at the very least will keep you very active. I don't have any real complaints, but it would be super great if literally every monster wouldn't grab or stun you like every 5 seconds. Seriously, personal space.
Enough already!
After you finally remembered you have a planet to save, dive back into the epic saga of the most toxic relationship in gaming, and get a glimpse into what turned your katana-wielding white-haired dreamboat into a homicidal monster, with Cloud and Gang continuing to chase a bunch of Organization 13 rejects to uncover the mystery of Sephiroth's nefarious plan, which is different than his old plan, but is also still his old plan, I think? As you dive into the slurry of lore that only a Nomura game can weave, where Ultimate Bro Zack survives, then finds his girl stolen by Cloud and in a coma, but is from another timeline, but somehow crosses time and space to help Cloud in the OG timeline, as Sephiroth tries to collapse all the timelines, and the white materia in the main timeline doesn't seem to work, but works in another timeline? That ends with Aerith ultimately dying, but also not. Then Cloud sees her spirit, either in some sort of PTSD Malko poisoning haze, or because he can see ghosts? Look, I'm sure this will all make sense eventually, right? Right? I mean, look how his other games came out. Oh no. In a story that definitely takes more deviations from the original, that, while not terrible, can't help but feel like they're doing some Rick and Morty shit with the whole thing.
The exact same as our old timeline, even my stuff.
Bit of a rush job, actually, so they do say Parmesan weird.
Okay, look, I'm just saying, there's probably still a perfectly decent Aerith in some other timeline.
What in the hell is going on?
Okay, all this, I'm going back to the gold saucer. So flip that Buster Sword and straddle that Chocobo for a game that really stays true to the spirit of the OG and brings you back to those childhood days where it felt like a game could last forever and you had the free hours to complete all of it, which you clearly don't now. I'm sure I'll be able to get through all of this in about 3 years. Hey, just in time for the sequel. Starring Lethally Blonde, Schrodinger's Aerith, Shifu, Big Bazooka Cannon, Dangerously Cheesy, Manic Pixie Thief Girl, how it feels to be a 40-year-old man and play Animal Crossing, how it feels to be 32 as a millennial, Freddy Krueger's goth skincare era, Zack not getting a fair shake, No Doubt, President Karen, Japanese Joe Dirt, 2 Vocaloids, Mommy Issues 2, Genova Boogaloo. Hey, that's me! And every other voice actor on the planet. And you expected a poignant emotional journey, but it was me, Dio. 2 soldiers chilling in the live stream, 5 feet apart because they're not gay. You can love or hate the changes in this game, but you know what will never go out of fashion? Dressing up your Chocobo in silly costumes. I mean, look at this one. It looks like a cowboy. It was worth spending 100 hours on this game. Also, if you're not petting the tiny Chocobo with the butt cover after you pick up a stop, you're doing it wrong. Look at him working hard, you monster. Comment below on what you want to hear in my epic voice and check out these other epic gaming videos on GameSpot. If there's one thing video games taught me, it's that meat is weak against knives. Avast, ye mateys. You see, Sub-Zero, you can trust a sorcerer sometimes. The moment man devoured the fruit of knowledge, he sealed his fate. Cute kittens cat burglaring catnip from the Canaries.